Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Walking Between Worlds with Leanne McLaughlin and Dianne Adams. I am Leanne, and this is my co-host,
Hi,
Dianne.
Anne. Hello. Welcome back.
Yeah. So it feels like we haven't been together for a while, but it's only been a week since we last released an episode. And this week we would like to talk a little bit about something that Dianne actually brought up as a topic. So I'm going to let you take it away and introduce that.
Yes, so it's it's great for our title, Walking Between Two Worlds. So what I'm finding, it just kind of came to me today. I was in the company with some people, and you struggle between the human aspect and the spiritual journey. So let's give an example of, say you have children and they're really struggling in some aspect. You know, you're a mother, you're a father, you're an auntie, you're an uncle, you're a friend, and you want it to go away. You want their journey to be smooth. You want to take their pain away. And it's heartbreaking as a human. But then on the other side of things, as a spiritual being, we come here to learn so many different lessons. And had we not had those lessons that we had to go through, as hard as they could be, it wouldn't get you to the point where you are now. So I really want to have a little discussion of how we can navigate that, the guilt around it. How can we plant our feet in this 3D world of being a human, but also bring in that spiritual aspect of why we're all here. So that's where that just kind of came to me today.
Yeah, that's a good
What do you
point.
think?
That's something that used to come up a lot when I was working as a nurse, because we would have patients who would come in, like, for example, with diabetes, and they would be in very bad shape and, be really sick. And so I'd stop and spend a lot of time to try to teach them how to care for it, you know, what it meant for their body when they ate this or did that. And I would think, oh, yeah, she's got it. She understands, it's okay. And then, a month or 6 weeks later, back again. And it's like the nurse in me wanted to save everybody. Like, I literally worked in the intensive care. We were literally bringing people back from death. And so I had to really recognize that people, and this is going to sound a little bit kind of crude or in your face, but it's like we live and die by the consequences of our actions. And so in the end, it's not my responsibility to fix or change or save anybody, even though, we all try to. And that's an example of someone who was a stranger, obviously. But when it's your child, like you said, and you're watching them do something that's self-destructive, that's a really hard thing to do because, yeah, we have to allow free will. Free will is the piece that nobody really likes, right? We have to allow people to have their soul's journey, whatever the agreement is that they have when they came to this earth plane to have an experience. And you're right, unless you go through the tough stuff, you don't get the lessons.
Yeah. So how do you just like talking out loud, how do you navigate that? And, I've had different situations in my life as well where you really have to, you got to take a deep breath. You have to find a way to take a deep breath and understand that it's not your responsibility, even though you take all the responsibility away. When you watch your toddler run and they're trip and they're going to fall and skin your knee, it's horrible to watch that because you can't be there to brace it and fix their wounds. But maybe they learned, oh my gosh, so when I stumbled, I'm going to tuck and roll instead of different ways that they can do things. And I know as a human, we really want to avoid the pain, even for ourselves. We want that to be taken away. And maybe I can only just tell the story for myself right now that when I'm going through hardships, it's really painful as a human here on this earth. But I have such a strong, it's not faith. Well, I guess it is in a spiritual way. It's not the religious way for me, but whatever way works for everybody. I have this higher power of experience that to know no matter what's going to happen to me, I'm going to be okay. And it hurts at the time. And I have to try and find all kinds of tools. So, one tool would be for me working out. And the harder I work out, it just seems that better that I have clarity. And then I go into my yoga and my meditation. It just brings me back to center. we're here for a very short period of time. And it's hard to really grasp that. And my beliefs, anyways, that there is so much more on the other side, whatever that other side looks for you, that this is just a small little section. But when you're going through it, it's the end of the world. And I just want to tell you guys that are out there, if you're going through this, it's going to be okay. But it's also not your job. Even if you're a parent and an auntie and a dad, you can't control what their journey on this life is. What do you think?
Absolutely. And, more importantly, like I say, like we need to allow people to have their experience. And so there are agreements that souls have together to have an intertwined experience, right? So like I look at times in the past when I was young and I had like one of my first boyfriends, and he was a great guy, but I didn't exactly love how he dressed. And so I fell in love with his potential and thought, oh, if I could just show him, maybe he could try this on, it would look better. And like, so we try to fix and whatever. And then it became, oh, his finances are a mess. I know I could help to teach him a little bit. And he got his first car. And it's like, okay, so like, why did I have to step in to do all of that? It was my ego. It was my ego. I wanted to save him. I wanted to be the one who made him, live up to his fullest potential. But we have to want these things for ourselves,
Yeah.
and that's
You
the
know, you
that's
can,
the biggest thing. Like if you don't want change for yourself, then if you're doing it for someone else, that's the worst motivation. You can have a positive result and a positive outcome, but resent the person who pushed you to make the change.
yeah. And I think a big thing is the guilt we carry, all of us, whatever the situation is. You perhaps were guilty because if his finances weren't in order. You took his stuff and you made that stuff become your stuff. So when it became your stuff, you felt guilty if he couldn't follow through with it. So you started to own his stuff. And I think that's a big thing where this comes from or can lead to is that we start to own other people's shit. Sorry to say that, other people's stuff. And we don't even realize we're doing it because we just want to help. But then we take it on and we've added the burden onto our back and it starts to weigh us down. And then it's that whole cycle of disappointment and guilt and fear. But it wasn't ours to begin with, even though if it's somebody that's super close to you, you're taking on something that doesn't belong to you. So I think that's a big lesson or something to sit with, anyways. How much are you taking on of other people's stuff to try and reduce their pain? Well, you've just created your own pain.
Absolutely. And it's human to want to help, but guilt and shame and all of those things, those are the lowest vibrations that there are on the planet. And if those manifest in your physical body as illness and disease, oh no, you do not want to welcome that in. Um, we have to be very careful about what we hold on to, like you say, that's not ours. And if you're feeling guilty about something, uh, it's a fine line because it's like, well, I can help to a degree, but I also have to allow. So you can feel like you can't just sit there and say, screw you, it's your experience, I'm not going to do anything,
Oh, gosh, no.
because we have a contract with other souls to have interactions and to be of assistance to a certain point, but you have to check yourself and recognize, where am I stepping over a line here? Where am I trying to just fix all of it? And where am I giving some support and then backing out to allow them to have their experience? That's the thing. So, I look at people who rescue animals, and God love these people. I've rescued and rehomed tons of dogs here in Mexico over the years. But I really recognized over time, it's like, it's a huge, huge cycle. It's a huge, huge problem. And my job isn't to fix the whole thing. My job is to do a little bit for this little soul in front of me here. And I've got some dog food and some water that I can give him today. And, in the end, it's like, I can't take them all home. I can't find them all new homes. Like, this is why God bless all of these rescue organizations that have formed and they're doing all this stuff. But, it's like, well, for today, this is what I can do.
Yeah, that's a good point, Leanne, because it is. That's why I love the name of our podcast, Walking Between Worlds, because of course you're going to do everything you can do to help. And that is that line. Where is that line where you start to enable versus helping? And of course, we're all going to help and try and give us, as a community coming together. And I think this is back to that community part. It's really important to have that community together to show another person, different resources that they can do to help themselves. But in the end, it is their journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not we're a part of that journey, but that they came here with, just like I came here, you came here with lessons that we don't know what it is, but it on a spiritual sense, we came here on this journey maybe to go through the hardest things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not easy. And that's why I like these conversations, just so all you guys listening, you're not alone. You are absolutely not alone. And it's okay. You're going to get through this.
Absolutely. We're here. We're so happy that people, check in every week to just see what the topic is and shed a little bit of light. And we continue to encourage people to leave a comment or write to us privately if you want about what you'd like to hear us talk about. Like, are there some things that you're going through in your world that you'd like to, share some insights, or to have us share a little bit about what we can shed light on too. So,
Yeah. Like we
okay,
don't have
well,
all the answers, but we're just here having a chat between two souls.
exactly, exactly. That's
Yeah.
that's 100% right. Okay, well, we try to keep these short, but I have a feeling they're going to end up getting longer and longer, Diane.
I know.
The
Just
bad.
like our daily combos.
Totally. Okay, well, great to chat with you. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. And please share with whoever you feel might benefit from participating in the conversation with us. We love you.
Yeah. So give kiss,
Yeah.
hug, and find us on YouTube, actually, by the way. So it is, we pop it on different places, but you can find it under our YouTube channel and just search out Walking Between Two Worlds with Leanne, McLaughlin, and Dianne Adams. So,
Isn't it walking between worlds, not two worlds?
oh,
It,
sorry, Walking Between Worlds. Yes,
yes.
yes,
Yeah, it's just walking
yes.
between
Thanks for
worlds.
that
I
catch.
know. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Until next
Okay.
time. Chat soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
What is it doing? Stop recording. Okay.